Kick the tires and light the fires. Do it.
What's up, Browns fans? Thanks for stopping into the Danger Zone. As always, I'm Josh. He's Rich. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
L-I-V-I-N, man. Loving life. Coming off your little 40th birthday because you have old balls and stuff. So we had a little soiree for you, right? So did that last night and just kind of chilled out today. It was a nice day to do that. So chilled the most. But you know what, Rich? Yesterday, in the chaos of your old ball's birthday party, Mr. Nicholas Jamal Chubb got extended, Rich.
Yes, finally.
So, I was kind of oblivious to Browns news yesterday while I was over your house. And then I got home later that night and I'm like, oh, looky here. Would you looky here?
Yeah. Would you look at that?
So we all know, obviously, this is not breaking news. We've all digested it for a day now. By the time you listen to this, probably a day or two or three, whenever. Extended Nick Chubb for 3 years, $36.6 million, $20 million in guaranteed. Let's talk about Nick for a little bit. And I think most of the fan base is probably, regardless of the money, because the money's very team friendly, and we'll get into that. Just extending him, period. I think most of the fan base is definitely on board with that. You see what this guy brings to the table, Rich. In terms of stats, let's look at his stats, right? Over 3,500 yards and 28 rushing touchdowns, along with 72 receptions for 577 yards in 44 games with the Browns since 2018, being drafted with Baker Mayfield. He has pretty much been the workhorse of this offense, especially the past 2 seasons where he's averaged over 5.2 yards a carry during that span. And he always seems to provide a good spark, provide a baseline for the rest of the team to follow. And if you're looking back on some, memorable he's got a lot of memorable moments, but the guy seems to come alive even more so in the fourth quarter when the games matter the most. And when you have a playoff caliber team, that's very important. You look back to last year, Rich, the Steelers game, right? They were kind of making a little bit of a comeback, if you want to call it that. And then Nick takes that screen pass, that little dump off, 40 yards to the house for a touchdown, and pretty much seals the game at that point. The guy has been as consistent as it comes when he's back there. Yeah, does he have a down game here or there? But Rich, this guy is meant arguably more than anyone but the quarterback to this team.
Yeah, well, he's going to produce. All right, we shouldn't take it for granted, but we should almost expect it. He does everything right. He's a team first guy. I mean, he stepped out of bounds instead of putting up 6 to help ice a game. He fucking squats goddamn 600 pounds or something. Fucking Christ. But he's exactly what you want, man. And what's nice is, extending his career with having Kareem Hunt here, which helps us enjoy Chubb for even longer, and which I think also played a part in this extension. Yeah. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen if Hunt, wasn't here, but he's not packing in miles on that body. You know what I mean? Like compared to some other running backs. But he's just, man, the way he runs the ball is old school. I mean, Marshawn Lynch went on about it last week. He's just exactly what we need, man. He's like a silent leader, silent assassin.
The silent assassin.
It's just perfect. It's a team friendly deal. We didn't get butt fucked with one of those Todd Gurley deals. Where it basically handicapped the fucking franchise.
Yeah. Well, and I think the key to that, and I want to get into the contract for sure, is the length and the money too. But only being a 3-year extension, I say only, which that's like a sweet spot number in my eyes for a contract. Sub quarterback, anything other than quarterback. And why is that? Well, especially for a guy of Nick Chubb's age, by the time this extension expires, he'll be turning 29, I think, or at 29.
Yeah.
So you look at just the years. It works for the Browns because you're not tackling, like you said, you're not giving them 5-6 years and a gazillion dollars. 3 more years after your deal's up, so starting next year. And let's see if we can keep this party going, right? So it's good for the team. For Nick Chubb, 3 more years. He's still 29. He's hadn't hit that 30 mark, which it seems that's the magical number where everyone thinks you're rich and your old balls over there all of a sudden. So 30 is the line in the NFL. So he hasn't hit that mark. So he still has the opportunity, if he's producing and the Browns and him want to part ways, to get a decent second contract, or third, I guess it would be, after the rookie deal, with another team if that so happens to be the case. Now, you look at the money. He's like 7th, I think it is.
Right.
7th highest paid. Something like that.
He'll be 8th here shortly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
when Saquon signs.
Right. And you got some talking heads, I don't want to say slamming, but questioning, right? So Joe Banner being one of them. Why would a guy do this? Why would a guy sign this contract? And I just gave you a couple reasons. I gave you one for each side, obviously. I think it's a great deal for Nick Chubb. Yes, it's not the most money he could get, but he's the man here. Everyone forgets about the familiarity that you keep by staying where you're at. And that has value. And I kind of equate this to like switching jobs. Like if we're in the market to look for a new job, right? You weigh things like, well, what are the perks of my current job? I know what the fuck I'm doing. I know how the company operates. Whatever. It's close to home, yada, yada, XYZ. And then you get to pay. So I kind of look at it in that frame, right? And maybe that's not the right way to look at it. But I think both sides in this deal really, of course, Nick didn't break the bank, but he got a damn big raise. Okay. And I think he's happy here in Cleveland, and that matters to him. That has value.
Yeah, there's no issue with this deal. Joe Banner's just fucking bitter because he couldn't get his shit together here. He was a fucking slapdick, fucking Barkevius Mingo. You fuck. Look, the deal is enticing for both sides, right? So Cleveland's not. We didn't like just basically marry ourselves. Or put an albatross around our fucking neck, with this deal. And the money's decent enough for Chubb, but I think the selling point for him is we have another guy here.
Like you were talking about to ease his wear and tear.
Because look, if he goes to another team, he might get more money, but he's going to also be fucking toting the rock a hell of a lot more. And I think, stretching out his career was a part of it. I think that has a little bit of influence because there's, he's not going to be fucking 400 carries. Mm-hmm. He's going to be right around that 300 number probably, and I think it's a good deal for everybody. I don't see a negative. I saw some people on Twitter saying, well, now that you signed Chubb, you can pretty much kiss Teller goodbye or some shit. I'm like, based on what?
Right.
Like, it's just, it was a good fucking deal. I'm beyond happy to keep Chubb here. Fuck Joe Banner.
Yes, I concur with that, Doctor. Fuck Joe Banner. And I do think, I don't want to read too much into it because these guys are wizards, especially with contracts and being able to work things. And we'll have to see how the dominoes fall, in terms of with the Teller deal here. But you look at one contract down, you got a handful more to go, potentially, obviously not potentially for sure with Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward, and Wyatt Teller being the biggest three next on the slate. Nick Chubb was the top priority, though. We talked about this because he's playing the last year of his deal this season. So, if they wanted to move forward with him, this was the time to do it. They knocked it out, but really, camp started, but we'll say really before camp because it doesn't have an opportunity to become a distraction. And I think they handled this the right way. And Nick Chubb, being Nick Chubb, happy where he is, being a team guy, was like, yeah, let's get this done and let's wrap this fucker up. So I think it was win-win-win all the way around. And I am fucking jacked to the teeth to have this man on this team for an additional 3 years after this season.
Yeah, Rich. Fuck yeah, dude. I love watching him run the football for us, man.
Hell yes. Nick Chubb, and we just talked about the other extensions. wasn't the only thing on the burners, or, wasn't the only iron in the fire for the Browns. One went under the radar, and that's the DePodesta extension, which happened as well. It kind of got lost in the shuffle with the Nick Chubb extension, and rightfully so. Yeah, that's the way it should happen. But DePodesta, 5 more years. Rich got a 5-year extension, effectively aligning him with Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. Right? They are all like 3 fucking peas in a pod now. Same contract lengths. Dare I say, this is the window, this 5-year window. So, you look at Depot, right? There's been instances where we've had some evidence where he's been right along the way and maybe wasn't listened to enough early on, right? And then all of a sudden, you look last year where they're like, all right, Depot, we're going your direction now. So, we're getting a new head coach, general manager, and bring in Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry. And it seems like the guy has been right all along. You go back to when the Browns brought this guy on board, Rich. They're bringing a baseball guy over, being innovative. We're going to do this analytic thing, or at least amplify it, because analytics have always been used, but we're kind of going to go this route, right? The nerds and the nerdery. There was all kinds of talk about this, and Depot's sitting in his fucking California house doing his Zoom meetings, laughing the whole time, going, these motherfuckers are going to see. And lo and behold, his process seems to be the right process. And the Browns have rewarded him with a 5-year extension, or a 5-year alignment with the other contracts. I don't know if the actual extension was 5 years, but he got an extension. So
yeah, look, it's all putting all getting everybody in together. You know what I mean? DePodesta, you brought up a valid point. He's been right a bunch. He wanted to hire Stefanski the year we hired fucking Durf. We saw how that turned out. He said Carson Wentz wasn't a top 20 quarterback. And lo and behold, he's hurt again. Like, potentially like a surgery coming up, And whether he was from baseball or blood, whatever, the way these analytics work, man, the sport doesn't really apply itself. You know what I mean? Like, they have guardrails that we've talked about.
The guardrails
that help, kind of tilt the numbers and the information in a direction that they're looking to go. You know what I mean? Where they can match it all together. Depot's been a fucking godsend, man. I mean, we don't even know. Could he be the one that's been he could honestly be the one that's been putting all this together in general. I'm kind of leaning that direction.
What is that? Is that a helicopter? Holy shit. Do you hear that?
What, was it gone?
It's like a staticky sound, but it sounded like a helicopter.
There's a fucking chopper.
The chopper. Yeah, man, I think there is more Depot stamp on this organization than we actually give him credit for. Now, we talk about the Stefanski stuff and him kind of being early on that, identifying his ability to coach, and obviously he's a fan of Barry. I think here's the thing. I think he saved us from a Jerry Jones situation. I think him having the role he has had in that front office, in terms of being in Haslam's ear, almost being a buffer or a liaison there, and having that pull with the Haslams, in conjunction with Dee, because we give her the credit too, kind of saved us from having a Jerry Jones and Jimmy there. And it's worked and it's paying off. Okay. It hasn't, obviously completely paid off. It's an ongoing process, but I think Haslam, being who he is, a business owner, right? So he's run a bunch of businesses. You always are fighting the urge to be too hands-on, because it's a responsibility that you bear, right? It's my job to make this successful. So you're constantly fighting that urge to be hands-on. And Depot, I think, for the last 5 years, has really eased that urge for Haslam to be as hands-on as he probably thought he may need to be before bringing Depot on. That's my take.
That's fair. I mean, it's probably a little bit of um, comfort as of late with the Haslams, kind of seeing the direction things are going. And I don't know, necessarily if we'd be looking at like a Jerry Jones type situation. I think a lot of it we focused on the Haslams because the other people were just too fucking new to blame. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like the front office people?
Well, yeah, I think the Haslams, to an extent, maybe got a bad rap just because they were at the top, of the pecking order, and the other people were just changing. Like,
yeah, there was no consistency to place blame on there.
Yeah, you don't go to a business and complain to the fucking new employee. You fucking ask for the goddamn, the manager, the person that's been there for a while to
Yeah.
And I just think the Haslam's maybe,
Where's your newest employee? I want to fucking bitch at him.
Right. But actually, I think, you know what? I'll split the credit 50-50 between Depot and D Haslam of fucking getting Jimmy's shit.
Fair.
Like, fucking chill out, Jimmy. Like I said the one episode, a couple episodes ago, put your dick back in your pants, Jimmy, and just fucking let these people handle their shit.
Damn it, Jimmy. Yeah,
God
man.
Damn it, Jimmy.
It's crazy how things have kind of transformed over the last handful of years for sure. And I'm super fucking stoked to be sitting where we are, and we talk about it constantly. And we will continue to talk about it constantly because this is the era of Browns football we are in. I kind of, tweeted out the Madden ratings because the Browns are the fifth best, highest rated team. And although it's trivial and it really means nothing at all in terms of product on the field, this season, but just to have that and have this, positivity with the team and things aren't just blind hope, to have all that, this new era of Browns football is really awesome. And the closer we fucking get, man, the more jacked I end up getting, and I'm just already crawling out of my skin, and we're fucking 5 days into training camp.
I'm beyond fucking ready. I mean, we haven't, this team is built to go play for the Super Bowl right now. Like, I can't even believe that's even words that are coming out of my mouth. And I fucking can't start fast enough. Jesus Christ. I mean, by the way, today is the last Sunday without football.
Oh, yeah, because the Hall of Fame game's next weekend, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, we are in it. It's fucking here, buddy.
All right, well, we got 2 more position groups we got to get through, not in this one episode. But before the season starts, I'm saying we got 2 more position groups to tie down. So we definitely got. Actually, when is the Hall of Fame game? Is it on Sunday?
I believe it's on Sunday. No, okay. I think it's Saturday, and they do the enshrinement on Sunday.
So we'll have 1 more position group before football, I guess, officially starts. But that's okay. That's okay. So anyway, Rich, we're gonna go over your favorite group this episode. So we're done with the contract talk. We're going on to positional previews, positional breakdowns. We're on to your group, man. We're on the linebackers right now. And you look at this group. Let's go back to last year. Okay, we'll start there like we have been doing this whole process. The Browns linebacker unit, you go further back than last year. It's been a problem for Cleveland for quite some time, right? It's always been an issue. There's been some guys in the past that have maybe done decently. One of them, depending on how you feel about DeQuell, is, getting honored here this year. They just always lacked that big time playmaker guy at that position. You look at last season, it was all more of the same. So they added a couple guys, BJ Goodson. This is last year, Malcolm Smith, drafting Jacob Phillips. And then as you've seen the season, grind on, Goodson really was the best linebacker out of that whole group in terms of, production and ability on the field. He ended the season with 91 tackles, I think. And 2 interceptions, 4 tackles for loss, a half a sack, 6 passes defended in 14 regular season games. So definitely the most productive linebacker out of the group. No one really worked their way up, any of the young guys that were there last year. There wasn't too many. It was kind of a stopgap year almost, so to speak, right? Is that fair? Like, they knew they weren't going to be able to address the position heavily before the season. So they're like, we'll throw a couple guys at it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We'll get to it next year.
The fact that B.J. Goodson was your best linebacker should tell you that it was just a fucking kick the can year.
Yeah, there you go. Kick the can year. I like that one. That's what they did. Your boy, last season, we talk about people underperforming. Your old boy, anyway, Mac Wilson, seemed to be kind of surpassed. And I'm not saying like this in a positive manner, surpassed by Taki. And take that for what it's worth. So to wrap up last season, Rich, not good for the linebacking core, and we knew going into this year it was going to get some change to it. I wouldn't say maybe overhauled necessarily, but there's going to be some change. They're going to bring in some guys. So we look ahead to this year. Big free agent acquisition, right? Anthony Walker.
That's a good signing, man.
Big draft choice selection in JOK. A guy who, they got a deal on in terms of draft capital or status or however you want to, bundle that up. You got Sione, you got Malcolm Smith back, you got Mac Wilson, you got Jacob Phillips, the youngster from last year. You got Tony Fields, the second, who's a rookie this year.
Mm-hmm.
You got Montreal Meander, who seems to fucking have his name pop up every fucking 3 years doing this damn podcast. I feel like I'm talking about Montreal Meander fucking all the time. He's kind of a hybrid guy, isn't he, though? Anyway. And then Elijah Lee. So you've got a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 linebackers, Rich. You know how many they carried on the 53-man roster last year? 6.
I would say 6. Sounds about right.
6 linebackers. So looking ahead to this season and what this group can do, I think a lot of this hinges on Walker, Rich. Obviously, the biggest free agent signing. He is, it's already been said, he's going to be the guy calling the defense out there. He's the most experienced guy in terms of, doing this type of role. So he's going to fill that middle linebacker, that Mike spot, and he's going to lead the charge, Rich.
Yeah, I guess Mac Wilson's attached himself to his hip, and that's probably the most action Mac Wilson's been involved in like a year. It's nice to have like a real middle linebacker sitting there. I'm not overly worried like I have been in past years about this linebacker group. Jacob Phillips, I think, is going to be a good one. He kind of took Mac Wilson's place. For me, as my favorite linebacker. JOK is still it's still kind of early to see what's going on. Plus, he's been on the Rona list, blah, blah, blah. But Anthony Walker, by far, is a huge step up at the Mike position, starting off this season, for sure. The one thing I'll say, too, is we may still carry 6 linebackers, because you got to remember we're mostly going to play only 2 at a time. Yeah,
I think 6 is the max you'll see. You could actually see a reduction in that. I don't know, but yeah, I kind of threw that number out to give a bar. Like they carried 6 last year, so I wouldn't expect any more.
Yeah, no, you got special teams and shit like that. We'll probably stay with 6. TikTok. Also has some, pass rush experience back when he was in college. So he's a for sure make it. Anthony Walker's a make it. Jacob Phillips is a make it. JOK for sure. Malcolm Smith.
Yeah.
Basically, everyone that you named off except for the guy that's wandering around, Meander.
Mm-hmm. And Elijah Lee.
Elijah Lee can pound salt. See you later. And same thing with shitty-ass Mac Wilson. If Mac Wilson's on the fucking the 53 or 57, whatever the fuck it is now, I'll be pretty disappointed. He is not a good football player.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, he's fell out of favor, Rich. And I might be being a little generous and putting it nicely there, but he definitely fell out of favor. Let's talk for a minute about JOK. I think, I talk about Anthony Walker kind of being the main cog to this linebacker unit. And I think that's an obvious statement in terms of the position he's playing, right? And his responsibilities he's going to have. But if you look at who's going to be the potential catalyst to, make this that guy that we didn't have. I was talking about through Brown's past, the linebacker who was a difference maker, the guy we didn't have. JOK probably has the biggest opportunity to be that guy in terms of ability, his athletic ability, and why the Browns drafted him, right? So, you got this speedy linebacker who's got good lateral ability, sideline to sideline. And the reason we need that, and the reason I think the Browns have attacked that, is because of the types of quarterbacks we're going to be facing on our path to a Super Bowl, right? So you're looking at the Patrick Mahomes, the Lamar Jacksons, potentially, if he can kind of step his game up, the Kyler Murrays on, and, maybe see him in the Super Bowl. Who knows? But there are a good amount of these quarterbacks who are mobile, who if can slip defenders and make you pay. And even to some extent, guys like, Josh Allen. I mean, let's not sleep on his running ability. It's not Lamar Jackson, but he's still a mobile quarterback who can get
No,
downfield.
so he's an athlete.
Yeah. So I think, in terms of what I'm looking at this year for like development for future, it's definitely JOK. I want to see how he can get in there, get some snaps, and handle some of these quarterbacks that we're going to be seeing that are going to be standing in our way, Rich.
Yeah, JOK's a nice chess piece to move around the board, man. He's kind of has the physical like ability of a safety, but he kind of plays similar to a linebacker. He's going to be fun because he's going to get moved all over the field. I'm interested. I would like to see, honestly, the two linebackers I'm interested to watch the most. Obviously, is JOK just because of all the hype and everything else. And I want to see what Jacob Phillip does in year two.
Yeah.
I think that could be a nice combo with two absurdly fast linebackers playing on the field. It's like they look to be explosive, and I think that's like we've said multiple times on this episode already. I don't think we've had an explosive type linebacker here in years.
Yeah,
for a long fucking time, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, JOK I think is like the multi-tool for this defense, and I just want to see. I just want to see how we use him. I'm anxious to see, man, because I think he's going to be good. I think JOK is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I got hopes, man. I've got hopes. That's for sure. That's for sure. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a positional group under the spotlight during camp, and I think even throughout the season, we got to see how these guys translate what they're doing in camp onto the field, and see how this defense continues to develop. So last week we talked about the line. This week we talked about the linebackers. Next week we go into the defensive backs, and that will wrap up our positional previews. And I'm excited to actually get on the defensive backs. So there's quite a bit to talk about there too, because there's some big additions and some things that are going to be coming to fruition this year. Some exciting stuff there. Rich, training camp.
Sure.
What's new in training camp? I'm looking right now to see if there's anything that stands out. I guess AJ Green is doing well right now, first early on in training camp.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nothing noteworthy really.
I did hear someone talk about my boy Jordan Elliott.
Oh yeah?
He was having a good camp, and I've been high, like I said, I've been high on him since we drafted. I liked him a bunch. I think him, and like I said, I think he's going to surprise people. I think people forget about him easy, and he's doing well at camp right now. So hopefully it continues and presses on. But it's been, I wouldn't say a quiet camp, but it's been a quiet camp. I don't have the words for this. It's been a quiet camp, man, which is a good thing for us, I think.
I like it. I mean, yeah, it's like I said, there's not anything. I think the main thing I've seen, and I expected it, but it's good to hear, and it's early, and whatever, take it for what it's worth, is the comfort with which Baker Mayfield is going through camp, and I guess it's visible that he is much more comfortable year two with Stefanski's offense, and rightfully so. He should be. He had all last training camp, all last year, and the offseason, because these guys don't stop technically working. to get, to where he is now. And it's nice to see that, yeah, you can see it. It's visible. He's very comfortable. He looks efficient. So that's good. Continue that, because we're going to need that. We're going to need that consistency as we go through this year for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. We'll see. Last weekend without football, and I love talking, anything Browns, but you start getting the preseason games in once they start happening, and you're like, all right, training camp needs a fucking end so we can go ahead and get on.
Yeah.
Get on with this.
Well, and any news, most of the time, any news that comes out of training camp is fucking bad news.
Right. Usually.
You know what I mean? Like, if any news comes out, like, it's not a big breaking story when they're like, so-and-so looks really good in camp. Like 50% of the people don't give a fuck. But God forbid you get a breaking news during training camp and you're like, oh, I don't want to look. This is terrible. I'm fucking scared. Like, let's just get to the fucking season already. Yeah. I'm ready. Jesus Christ, let's go. I'm ready to tailgate.
We're getting there.
And get hammered and fucking just.
It's August. It's August.
Yeah, it's fucking here, man. Our tickets, by the way, should be here pretty soon. Or not our tickets, but our
door prize,
our door prize, or fucking whatever
party favor.
Yeah, they're gonna send us a thimble and fucking something else. They've done the last couple years. They did pretty good, but prior to that, it was just bullshit. Like, we got a kazoo.
I still use the cooler.
Yeah, you use it all the time. Every time I see you,
I got that little 6-pack cooler. I fit like a 10-pack in there, though. I can't quite get a 12. I feel like a 10-pack in there.
Let's say
of cans, not bottles.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yes, a lot to look forward to. Hey, before we move on to kind of tailing off this episode, I want to remind you guys to check out mark1sports.com and take in all the beautiful Cleveland content that we have to offer you there at mark1sports.com for your Indians, Cavs, and obviously Browns. And now your minor league stuff with the baseball, with the CLE Futures guys doing their thing there. Your Mark 1 show, daily fantasy sports. I mean, you really get so much. Like, there's nowhere else you really need to go. So just go there, check it out. That's mark1sports.com. Rich, did you have a fuck, Mark Hill? We doing that this week?
I'll fucking wing it, but I got to show you something I pulled out of the garden today. Look at this fucking, it's green. Look at this zucchini, bro.
Oh, yeah.
A massive zucchini. Wait, I want to see if it's a brown zucchini.
It starts to disappear a little bit.
Dude, they're fucking, these, I didn't realize how absurd zucchini is in the garden. It's like overtaking my whole yard, and it keeps.
Yeah, the plant itself it's ridiculous.
Massive. And this is like the 8th and 9th fucking zucchini I popped off the fucking plants this year.
Yeah, it's like, what do we do with all these zucchinis? I mean.
All right. So real quick, did we do, and I'm going to rely on your memory, we maybe should log these so we don't fucking double up like some douchebags. But I'm trying to think if we did it. My thought is Lois, Griffin, Francine from American Dad.
Oh, yeah.
And Marge Simpson.
We haven't done this, no, but I like it. I like the path you're going right now.
Yeah,
I like the path you're going.
I'm going to start it off. Off the top of my head, I'm going to bang Francine. I'm going to marry I'm going to marry Marge Simpson because she's Marge, right? And I'm going to kill Lois because I think she'd end up killing me first. Like, Lois has got a mean streak, dude, and I've seen it. I mean, there's a Family Guy episode where Lois beat the shit out of some chick. And Lois is just scary.
Yeah,
she's been fighting off Stewie.
Streak.
She's been fighting off Stewie, trying to kill her for years and shit like that.
She's fought the Big Bird, too, I'm pretty sure. Sure she did. She scrapped the Big Bird, so
yeah, I'll go. I'm gonna F Francine, marry Marge, and I'm gonna kill Lois just because I'm scared of her.
All right, I'm gonna agree with you on marrying Marge for sure. That's 100% the way to go there. But I'm gonna flip flop and I'm gonna kill Francine and bang Lois.
You're gonna hold on. You're gonna kill her because she's stupid, aren't you?
Listen, she is the most annoying out of the three, and I know I'm kind of predictable going that route most of the time, but yeah, that's the reason. And you know, Lois is the redhead. Why not, right?
Lois is a freak, man. But I might.
And here we are talking about cartoon character women.
Banging cartoon characters.
At that, yeah.
That's weird. That's so weird.
You don't listen to this show for our deep family values. Come on, don't fool yourself.
No, we ain't your people for that.
We are not your people for that. Hey, as always, guys and gals, we want to thank you for your continued support. It means a bunch to us. We will be doing another shirt giveaway because I have a few more larges to give away. Eventually, Hicks, you'll get your shirt. I've got one to give you. Rich has got one. Whoever sees you first really is giving you the shirt. So we just got to give you the shirt. And yeah, so Rich, that being said, you got anything deep and meaningful, the things I just said you don't listen to our show for? Do you got anything along that
No,
vein?
I mean, as of today, as it sits all right now, fuck Joe Banner and what's his face? Joe Banner and Brandon Marshall are on the top of my go fuck yourself list this week. Marshall was on it last week too. He's a 2-week runner just because of the fucking trash he spewed. Fuck, last Sunday without football, baby. Fuck it. Let's go. Go Browns.
Go Browns.